Well, hi there, everybody. This is Dr. Schroeder with this week's video introduction to week number 8 in our course in the principles of healthcare research. And of course, we are really down to our final week. We're down to really just our last few days of class now. In week number 7, all of you completed your qualitative critique and have submitted those. I will be grading those and we'll have you feedback throughout the week, but certainly no later than Thursday evening. I want to have the grading all wrapped up by Friday, and so you'll have the feedback for those, know your grades on those this coming week. And I'll be giving you feedback specifically on your understanding of the concepts related to the qualitative review process and critiquing qualitative information. Be looking for those grades. And we really are just down to 2 final tasks. The first is that you have a final exam. Your final exam is now open. I have opened it. It will stay open until Friday evening. I've actually kind of extended the time a little bit. It didn't come up as scheduled on Monday. I had the wrong year entered in there. So it is open now. It will stay open through Friday evening. So you have to complete your final sometime between now and that time. So please plan your time wisely. Make sure that you have enough time to go in and complete that exam before it shuts down this coming Friday evening, June the 24th. And we have one final discussion question. Throughout the class, we've talked about ethical principles and the ethics of healthcare research and the protecting of human subjects in research. And that's really going to be the focus of the discussion question this week, is to talk about going back to the Kokalba hand massage study, and to talk about the human rights aspect of it. And if you were a member of the IRB committee reviewing that particular study, what are some areas that you would want included in the informed consent that would be given to patients? One thing to keep in mind as you start to look at this discussion question is that sometimes I will get some questions as to, is it really ethical to study people that are, for example, like in hospice or in their the last stages of life, especially when they're uncomfortable? Is it really ethical to include them in studies? And the answer is really, well, how else are we really going to know what works or what doesn't work unless we ask them questions, or unless we observe them or observe their responses to certain interventions? So the short answer is that yes, it is ethical. Just because we're talking about patients that are in a vulnerable population, or in patients that are going through difficult times and are in pain, just the fact that we're doing research on them, that question in and of itself does not bring into question the ethics. However, that study must be done in a way that it does maintain their dignity, does maintain their comfort level, and doesn't impose any sort of an undue burden on them. And so that's one of the things to keep in mind as you look at this study in particular, because it is a difficult study with the patient population. And as we've talked about before, there were some issues with this study in the number of participants and the number of patients at the end that ended up completing the study. But the focus is going to be specifically on that IRB process and on the protecting of the human subject's rights. And I will be participating along with you in the discussions this week. It's been a very good class. The discussions have been very robust. We've had some really excellent discussions, and I think that we've kind of eked out some good learning. And so the only other last thing that I would request you to do is, if you have not done so already, is remember that there is an end of course survey that I would like you to take. I always encourage my students to take the end of course surveys, because it's the only way that we really get feedback from you guys as to, is the class working, isn't it working, are the educational modalities working, are the discussion questions working, is the level of discussion from the instructor too much or not enough, is the feedback good? All of that stuff is really important, and it's important for us to know that. It's important for me personally, because quite frankly, my continued tenure with the school is dependent upon the feedback from the students, and that's really true with all of us instructors. We really do value your feedback, and we seek it out Of course, we always like positive feedback, but the negative feedback really helps us to become better teachers as well. So I really encourage you to please go ahead and do that. It's a little study that the school does, and they really do read those results. I want you to know that. As you have any questions, please let me know. But this is going to be my last video for the class, and it's really been a pleasure being with you and to present these little videos each week. Please let me know what the videos work. It takes a little bit of time to do them, but like I've said, it kind of makes me feel like I'm a little bit closer to the class, and I'm curious as to if you feel the same way. As to, please let me know if they're too long, if they don't give any good information. Let me know that as well, because I definitely don't want to do something that's going to waste anybody's time. But I look forward to maybe being with you again in a future class. I wish you all the best and Godspeed as you continue on your nursing education journey and as you continue on working on your nursing goals. I hope the class has been good. I hope it's been enriching for you, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you in the future. And I'll see you in the discussion forums.